Hi everyone, today I'm going to be looking at a game I played as River versus England 5. This matchup is pretty brutal, but the basic strategy I'm going for is I'm going to try to defend the coast as much as possible. I'm going to spam River's bounty as much as I can, and I'm looking specifically for Vigor of the Breaking Dawn. If I don't get that, it's probably a loss, but yeah, I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I could really do. What's really unfortunate about this matchup is that basically all of River's abilities are negated by England. So like usually you're controlling things by pushing invaders around to stop builds, but England just builds anyways. And the best tier of your innate essentially doesn't do anything because the increased health. So on turn 2, so I'm just going from the bottom track, and then turn 2 I could play Flash Floods plus my innate to just kill a city. So that's just standard. I'm just going to do that every single time. Which is actually nice that jungle shows up here, because I can kill the city and then also push 3 invaders out. So that was a good sequence of lands. I'm doing the reclaim mostly just getting River's bounty just over and over again. What's also unfortunate is that England usually needs a fear victory, and River just does not generate fear at all. And River also has problems with energy gain. So it's like all of these things that River does well is just completely negated by England. So jungles are ravaging. We're fine with the inland jungles. That's not usually a problem area on this board. Okay, so I get Vigor of the Breaking Dawn turn 3, which is I think what needs to happen to get a victory. Or there's that other Dahan power, I don't remember what it's called, but what's nice with Vigor of the Breaking Dawn is that you can deal damage and also push Dahan to deal damage in another land. So that's what I'm going to be doing, is just rinsing and repeating this power. So Vigor of the Breaking Dawn also synergizes pretty well with the Spirit, because you do get the sun from your starting powers. So you can use the thresholded ability of Vigor, which is great. Yeah, I don't know if there's any other major powers that I could really, that I'm looking for in order to win this. Like, it's just kind of a Vigor or bust. Oh, so what I was saying, I think, is usually we want major powers in order to generate enough fear. But I mean, usually that we don't have that many options as River, I think, because River is usually played with like 4 minor powers, but like which minor powers are you gonna use? Like usually you go 4 minor powers to get the best tier 3 of your innate, and your innate just does nothing now. So yeah, really tough matchup. Playing the Spirit, I do like this board the best, because you can take advantage of your wetlands stuff, and just like wetlands and coastal lands building, Team Rivers is a great find. But coastal lands and wetlands building, that combination, like if you're not able to like I've just found as the Spirit, like if coastal lands gets built up, you're just lost. So that's the idea, is just defending the coastal lands up front I think gives you the best chance to win. So reclaiming Vigor of the Breaking Dawn, I am trying to find ways of just getting more energy. Teeming Rivers is great because you can get rid of I think two of the biggest problem areas is going to be the middle mountains, and Wetlands is just on the coast. So I think Teeming Rivers is a great find here. Mountains are ravaging. Because I have Teeming Rivers, I don't really care too much about that corner mountains because I could just remove the blight later. But this middle mountains, I do want to try to I want to try to deal with that if I can. So because I have Vigor of the Breaking Dawn, I am pushing things more towards Wetlands just to kind of generate a kill zone for my Dahan. So mountains are ravaging this turn. I am going to be using Vigor of the Breaking Dawn to deal with both of these. As the minor powers, usually blight removal gives you the elements that you want. So Song of Sanctity is good. Vigor of the Breaking Dawn, I do need to deal with the mountains, but I also want to, like, the jungles are going to be like a prime spot for generating fear and like destroying invaders. Unfortunately, I only have 3 Dahan in that middle mountains, so a 6 damage versus the 7 health of a city and town. So what I'm going to have to do is, like, ideally I would want to push 2 Dahan into that coastal jungles to deal 10 damage there. But I think in order to avoid the blight, I'm going to have to deal damage first in the coastal jungles, which is enough to kill a city. And then push it into the middle mountains in order to deal 10 damage there. I think I misplay this. I think I pushed 2 Dahan there when I only needed to push 1, and I think that actually matters long term. Or I think it's just non-optimal. I don't remember exactly what happens. We'll find out. But yeah, I pushed 2 in there when I only needed to push 1. Ideally, I would not have done that. I would just push 1. Kept the 2 Dahan in the jungles. That way I can just gather more Dahan in there. So Song of Sanctity, I'm debating whether to what to do with Song of Sanctity, because there's unfortunately an explorer in the jungles. And I think I needed to, I don't remember what I did here, but maybe I could have like pushed with my innate. Oh, this is what's happening. I have to decide between getting rid of a blight or just preventing a ravage in the sands. So I just choose the sands instead. Just because jungles like isn't showing up, like that inland jungles isn't showing up, so I think the sands are maybe more important. I could be wrong. It potentially could have mattered. I think I should have used it in this jungles anyway. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out what to do with this Song of Sanctity. I unfortunately can't take away this blight. So I guess just push and explore. Alright, sands are ravaging. We do have 1 sands that is not great, but I do have Vigor of the Breaking Dawn, so that's 6 damage. That is enough to clear that land. And I get a turn where I can double presence, which is great, just to get that extra energy gain. And again, Teeming Rivers is awesome because it has that sun and water, and it removes blight, so that's just a great card to have. And it has beasts. I mean, it's everything that you want for this spirit. So vigor in order to destroy invaders in the sands, and I'm debating between pushing them into the corner wetlands or into that jungle. Because if I don't kill that corner wetlands, that's just another blight, and I don't think I'm going to be able to get rid of all the invaders in this jungle. So again, this is where I think I should have, like, if I had one more Dahan in there, that would have been 8 damage. I don't think that would have really mattered too much, but the next turn I would have had another 2 damage. I think the best play is to put it into the wetlands, but it's just going to build again. I mean, it's just to prevent a city, but I do have Teeming Rivers, which removes a blight from wetlands, so that's probably my thought, is like, even if it does blight, I do have a card to remove blight from wetlands, so potentially the jungles are the better target. I get an event that unfortunately pushes Dahan out of that corner wetlands, which is not great. So I do end up going into that coastal wetlands. Teeming Rivers, just to get the blight away, and then push out from that coastal wetlands. Alright, so what am I going to do about this jungle? Probably just try and deal as much damage as possible. Call to Trade is really good, but Gift of Constancy I've also found is really good here, because it gives you extra reclaim and just energy. I think the energy is probably really good, but Call to Trade is also just a really good card with all of the elements that we want for the spirit, so I think I end up taking Call to Trade. Renewing Ring is also a good card to get, so this is 3 good cards. Yeah, take Call to Trade. So Vigor of the Breaking Dawn, again, Jungles is coming up after the coastal lands, so Jungles is the problem right now. So it's making me wish that I did have that extra Dahan in there. I'm trying to figure out what I can play, like what's optimal to play with, like to both get Vigor of the Breaking Dawn and also, or get its thresholded ability. Plus, I do want Call to Trade, if I'm being honest. So I think I actually do Call to Trade to prevent the jungle from ravaging this turn. I think I'm also trying to get my innate, but I need 3 water for that, and that's not happening, so. Oh, Teeming Rivers also, like, that top wetlands is going to be blighting, so Teeming Rivers can remove a blight from there. So I'm going into the wetlands, I guess because there's more Dahan in there. But that's why I played Teeming Rivers, is to deal with that. So I'm not sure exactly what's going on there. Do Curse the Tongues. I have so much sun, which is great. Definitely discard here instead of paying the 1 energy. I think I do end up paying the 1 energy, which is a mistake. I should have discarded. Like, that 1 energy could definitely matter long term. Pushing from inland, probably from the sands. Just prevent a city. Okay, so it does blight. It blights anyway, so Teeming River still is useful here. I still have a lot of fear to go, which is worrying me because I got the ideal. I got like Vigor of the Breaking Dawn, which I wanted, and it's still like a struggle. Just because Vigor is kind of my only damage. So like I could go up to 4 card plays, but I just have so little energy from the Okay, so gathering into the jungle, pushing from the mountains. I'm not sure what's the best here. Pushing from the sands, interesting. Okay, what are my options here? I really need, like, even 10 damage into that jungle isn't gonna work. I'm not sure exactly what I'm looking for. I think I'm just looking and seeing what I'm getting, see if I can think of anything. I do have Call to Trade, which is nice. So I could probably skip a Ravage in the coastal jungle. But I'm starting to get up to that 7 buildings, which would not be great. So I need 3 sun for Vigor of the Breaking Dawn. And the only options for getting 3 sun here is Song of Sanctity. So I don't think I'm going to be able to do the thresholded part of Vigor of the Breaking Dawn, because I do need to play Call to Trade. Yeah, I need to play Call to Trade here. Which is unfortunate because both jungles are going to be cascading. So I have two blight left before so I'm going to get a blighted island. What's nice is also Call to Trade gathers a Dahan. So I do get 8 damage, which is always useful. I guess I'm pushing things, just wetlands are not an issue right now. So I think, like, even though the coast is building, I just need to deal with the jungles specifically. Alright, Coastal Jungles becomes a build. I do unfortunately Cascade Blight out of this Middle Jungles, and I choose to put it into the land with my presence, just because there's more Dahan in that other sands. So I could potentially do some sort of Vigor of the Breaking Dawn, or just like push it out. I think I should have just cascaded into that other sands. I don't know what I was thinking there. So mountains are ravaging. I thankfully have been able to keep that corner mountains in check with Teeming Rivers. I get called to isolation with this minor power draw, which is great. Another way of moving Dahan around. So what's going on? Sands are ravaging. Sands are not great. Mountains are also ravaging. I definitely have to deal with this bottom sands. Both mountains ravaging is not great either. So I'm using Call to Trade here again. Just more Dahan movement, more Dahan synergy is always good. So where would I like to probably not ravage? Okay, Teeming Rivers. So I'm just going to go for Blight Management. I do get the threshold for Vigor of the Breaking Dawn, which is great. I need to deal with the sand, so probably gather. So I want to gather, or I'm just pushing a town out. Okay. And then Vigor of the Breaking Dawn. Yeah, okay, so some decent damage. 2 more cities. Pushing it into the mountains is unfortunately not enough damage to get rid of both, but counterattack will still kill this last town. Alright, adding a blight. I can gather a town, so I end up gathering that mountains, which is awesome. Okay, so I didn't realize that Explorers would be dealing 2 damage here, or 2 damage on this turn, I think, because of the event, potentially. So I'm like, oh, what the heck, that just blighted. So I have to reassess where I'm going to remove the Explorer, so unfortunately I do blight anyways in that other sands. I do get a reprieve this turn, or next turn, I guess. So no ravage next turn. So I'm just thinking, okay, I need to deal as much damage as possible. Wetlands are building twice, and then going to be ravaging twice. So I'm looking at the fear. I'm looking at the fear cards that I need. I get next turn, and then I'm probably going to lose that following turn. I only have 3 blight. Wetlands are almost certainly going to be building twice this turn, then ravaging twice next turn. Mountains will probably blight as well, and then jungles will probably blight as well. So I am not in a good position here. So I have one more turn, potentially 2 more turns before I lose, or before I would lose. So reclaim Vigor of the Breaking Dawn, that's good. I do need energy, so I'm looking at my options for getting more energy. I could potentially, so I'm getting 3 energy, 4 energy if I place presence. I could go up to 5 card plays, but I literally just don't have the energy to play 5 cards. Or 5 cards plus Vigor of the Breaking Dawn. Call to Tend is nice. It removes a blight, but I do pick this other I didn't see with the Pact of the Jungle. Destroys a town if you have beasts in the land, I think, or is it one? No, it's one damage per Dahan. So I just go for the 1 damage per Dahan, and then Prowling Panthers is the one that destroys a town. So I do want to just maximize the damage that I could do. And I think I'm also thinking about Fear right now because I'm pretty close to Terror 3. So trying to figure out how to deal enough Fear over the next 2 turns to potentially win. So I deal damage first into the wetlands, just so I could push 2 more Dahan into the jungles. So I deal 14 damage, which is a good chunk of damage. That's 2 Fear cards. I think I have 2 more. No, I think I have 3 more Fear cards. Blight Spreads is an awful event to get right here. Beast Destroy an Explorer, which does next to nothing. I do skip the next normal build, which is nice. So I'm removing stuff from that corner wetlands. I'm not sure what the Fear card did there. There's some bugs in this game, I think, so I'm not sure if everything did what it was supposed to do, but who knows. Alright, destroyed that, so I don't have to worry about that middle mountains. I do 1 damage per Dahan into that jungle, so that's another 8 damage, I think. 9 damage, wow. Which is awesome. Okay, so that's another Fear card. Looking at, okay, I have 3 Fear cards left. Jungles are ravaging, wetlands are ravaging, everything is awful. I go for a major power draw, and I'm looking specifically for the major power that skips actions. What's it called? It shows up here. Paralyzing Fright. I was specifically looking for Paralyzing Fright, and I drew it, which is Incredible Stroke of Luck. So Paralyzing Fright can deal with that inland jungles, because I don't want that to cascade. And it also generates a lot of Fear, which is exactly what I need as well. And I happen to have a good amount of energy. So I have 6 energy. I'm going to play Paralyzing Fright. I can't play Paralyzing Fright and Vigor of the Breaking Dawn, but Vigor of the Breaking Dawn my best land for Vigor of the Breaking Dawn is that jungles, and I've already kind of taken out all the invaders there. So Vigor isn't the best one to do. So I am thinking about... Oh, and then whenever I took Paralyzing Fright, I also got rid of Wash Away. But I do want to keep Wash Away because I can get the better version of Paralyzing Fright because Wash Away has an earth in it. So I get rid of Prowling Panthers instead. So I want Paralyzing Fright, and I want to play all of my earth. Yeah, so I get the +4 fear from Paralyzing Fright. So my idea here is to use Call to Isolation to push a Dahan into a land, then use Call to Trade to target that land to skip a Ravage as well. What I end up doing is I end up using Call to Trade on the inland jungles, but I think that's a misplay because I should have used Call to Isolation to push a Dahan into that top wetlands instead of the jungles. I think I was like, oh, I'm going to use Call to Trade on the jungles, but then I decided to use Paralyzing Fright on the jungles. I think that was my thought process was, let's use Call to Trade on the jungles, but then I realized jungles would be building twice in that case. So I was like, okay, let's use Paralyzing Fright in order to stop the builds. But I think the more ideal play is Paralyzing Fright on the jungles to stop both the Ravage and build, then Call to Trade on the top wetlands, comboing with Call to Isolation. So I have 3 fear cards. I was like, okay, let's do the fear cards, or hope the fear cards generate enough fear. But I do get an event that the Dahan just destroy the invaders. So it ends up working out. The first part of the event, the invaders deal damage to the Dahan. I didn't realize, so I go back and deal it in the other jungle. And then each Dahan can destroy a town or city. So I destroy 2 cities, generates enough fear in order to get the win. I think either way, if I would have put the Dahan in the top wetlands, I think the result would have been the same. So thanks for watching.